time. My name is Odessa Phillip. I am part of the consultant team working on the Master Plan of Transportation 2035 with the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. We're going to go through and do some introductions, etc. But I just wanted to get everybody an opportunity to get into the meeting and for us to get started. And so really quickly, just want to make sure everyone's oriented with Teams. I'm hoping that most of us have started using Teams over the last year and a half, but for your edification, we are recording this meeting. It's really just helping us on our team keep track of everything that's said in terms of the conversations. If you can please mute yourself and turn off your video, at least in the beginning part of this conversation. We will at a point go into breakout rooms, and of course we'll want everyone on camera ready to talk, but we just want to protect our bandwidth. If you have a comment or a question, you can use the chat bubble up in the top of your browser in order to type it into the chat, and then of course make sure to unmute yourself. And then the last piece is there are some people who are calling in. I'm not sure if that means you're unable to see the presentation materials or not, but if you or if you're unable to communicate with us by way of the chat. So if you are calling in and can't see the materials, we just want to make sure that you have a way to communicate with the team, and I will show you that and call out the email address for coordinating with our team at the end of the session, but I wanted to make sure I gave you an opportunity. We will have an opportunity for those who are dialing in to stay in the main room when we go to the breakout sessions so that you can still verbally participate in the conversation. All right, so if we don't have any questions, we will go ahead and get started. So just quickly, we're going to do welcome and introductions. I'm going to talk about the role of this committee, give you an overview of the project. We'll go into these breakout conversations and they're by subject matter area. I believe our team is going to put those subject matter areas in the chat over on the right-hand side and ask that once you see the names of all of the breakout sessions, that you will put your name and which session you would like to go into. And while we're going through the presentation materials, someone on our team will be working to put you into those breakout rooms so that you're ready. Then we'll have open discussion after we've had these breakout sessions, talk about next steps, and if there are any additional questions, we will hop into those. Oops, I think I went back too fast. So what I did just mention was those sessions. So here they are. They're roadways, transit, active transportation, and Vision Zero. Those are the 4 breakout rooms that we plan to have everyone go into. And so if you would just type your name and that session, that would be great. Again, if you're calling in and are unable to go into these breakout rooms, then we will have a facilitated conversation that will remain in this main room. I'm going to introduce you really quickly to the project team. We'll have opening remarks from Will Capers, the planning supervisor. Crystal Saunders Hancock is the project manager, and Judith Howerton is the deputy project manager. And they will be available to chat with you over in the breakout session. So we won't spend a lot of time there, but I do want to make sure you know who the project team is. And so Will, can you give us your opening remarks?
Thank you, Odessa. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon to discuss the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission's update to the Master Plan of Transportation that are known as the MPOT 2035 Plan Update. I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce myself, as I may be a new face to some of our municipality partners. My name is Will Capers, and I am the supervisor for the Planning Department's Transportation Planning Section. The department is also represented this afternoon with MPOT 2035 Project Manager Crystal Hancock and Deputy Project Manager Judith Howerton. As we embark on this great undertaking to prepare for future transportation infrastructure and for the planning needs of the county, we are extremely excited to engage with representatives from the incorporated municipalities in the county that in some form contributes and supports the planning efforts and the implementation of the Master Plan of Transportation goals and visions. We intend for this meeting to be both informational and collaborative in nature, where we can incorporate your thoughts in our plan efforts. I would like to express that this is an ongoing process with all stakeholders. So if something is missed this afternoon, or as you take in the information and have additional thoughts, please feel free to reach out to the county's team to provide additional feedback after this meeting and or any time during the process. For the planning department, I would like to thank you all in advance for your participation, and I look forward to working with each and one of you in the future. I will now pass it back to Odessa to continue on with the meeting.
Thank you so much, Will. And so just going to have a moment for us to begin doing some introductions. And Elsa, I might need you to take back control and go ahead and advance the slides because I'm having some connectivity issues. So if you want to grab that control back, great. Thank you. So I am probably going to, thank you, Elsa. So are you guys able to still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay,
Yes.
great. So I'm probably going to switch, switch to my cell phone to speak just in case we lose the service. My service seems to be a little janky, but I want to introduce you to the consultant team. Kwasi Donkor is the project manager. And so Kwasi, do you want to say a few words, please?
Thanks, Odessa. Yeah, just good afternoon, everyone. Just really happy to be on board and leading the consultant team. My name is Kwasi Donkor with Fair and Peers, and I'm joined by a very capable team, and we're looking forward to working with the county on this MPOT. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to thank you so much, Kwasi. I'm so sorry. Apparently my my service is not so great here, but I am going to dial in so I can keep the conversation going. So if you want to advance to the next slide, Elsa. We want everyone to introduce yourself and the municipality you represent. And in order to help us go with that, we'd also want you to briefly share your top priority for county transportation. We're going to go in alphabetical order by the list of attendees. So I'm going to start with the phone numbers. The phone number ending in 35. Can you introduce yourself and the municipality you represent? Phone number ending in 35.
Hello, my name is Jerome Porter, and I represent the town of Comer Manor.
Thank you so very much. The phone number ending in 59, please.
My name is Larry Bond, and I'm representing the town of Forest Heights.
Wonderful, thank you. Phone number ending in 60, please.
Hi there, my name is Melinda Mendoza, representing the town of Comer Manor.
Excellent, thank you so much. And then I will now go to the names. So Andrea Brown, please.
Good afternoon, Andrea Brown, representing the city of Laurel.
Yes, I live in the city of Laurel. I'm sorry, so biased. Benita Danner, please.
Hi, my name is Benita Danner, and I'm representing the city of Sea Pleasant.
Wonderful, thank you for joining. Brad Pudner, please.
Hi, I'm Brad Pudner, and I'm representing the town of Berwyn Heights.
Excellent, thank you so much. Glenn Burton, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Glenn Burton. I'm an employee of the Prince George's County Planning Department, and I am a transportation planner.
Excellent, thank you. Manfredo Davila, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Manfredo Davila, and I am a planner coordinator with the transportation planning of the department, Prince George's County Planning Department.
Excellent. Thank you. Felicia Hutchinson, please.
Hello, my name is Felicia Hutchinson, and I represent the city of College Park.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Michael Jackson, please.
Hi, Michael Jackson here. I am an employee of the Prince George's County Planning Department. I am a bicycle and pedestrian coordinator.
Excellent. And then, I'm sorry, I lost my list here. I was at Michael Jackson. And then Jeff from Landover Hills.
Yes, hi, Jeff Shumish, Landover Hills.
Thank you so much. Jerome Porter, please.
Yeah, that's me again. I'm from Comar Manor.
Okay, you were you're calling in and
Yeah, I had to do both.
yeah, sounds like me. I will have to do that too. Jim Chandler, please.
Jim Chandler, representing the city of Hyattsville.
Wonderful, welcome, thank you. Joe Minart, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Minart. I'm the City of Bowie Planning Director, and our top priority is Maryland Route 197.
I'm on the other end of 197. I love that. Thank you so much. Karen Rooker, please.
Hi, I'm Karen Rooker from representing the town of Morningside.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Kyle Snyder, please.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kyle Snyder. I'm representing the town of Upper Marlboro.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Leslie Parker Blyther, please.
Hello, my name is Leslie Parker Blyther, representing the wonderful, excellent city of Sea Pleasant.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Lieutenant Jay Matthews, please. I don't know if I missed that one. Well, I'm assuming that's Lieutenant Jay Matthews. If you are speaking, you're still on mute. Okay, I'll circle back. And so Malik Jordan is with Aceto Consulting as part of our team helping us facilitate. So I'll go to Tom Masog, please.
Hi, this is Tom Masog. I'm with the Transportation Planning Section of Prince George's County Planning Department.
Thank you so much. I see the name McMahon.
Hi, I'm Michael McMahon with the City of New Carrollton.
Wonderful. Thank you and welcome. Robert Love, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Robert Love, and I'm representing the City of Laurel.
Whoop, whoop. There's Laurel again. Noelle Smith, please.
Good afternoon. Noelle Smith, Transportation Section of the County Planning Department.
Excellent. Thank you. Steve Halpern.
I'm the city engineer, and I'm with the City of College Park.
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome. Taylor Roby.
Hi there. I'm also with the City of Hyattsville.
Wonderful. Thank you and welcome. Terry Ruby.
Yes, I'm with the City of Greenbelt. I'd say our top priority is Maryland 193.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then I see someone listed as town administrator.
James Gaston, the third, town of Brentwood.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to all. Is there anyone who I did not include or who was missing and did not get to introduce themselves that's not part of the consultant team or the planning team? Wonderful. Okay. Very happy to have all of you here to join us. We did hear from some of you on your top priorities. I heard Maryland 193, Maryland 197. I'm sure there are others, and we'll get a chance to discuss that over the course of this afternoon. So just want to quickly tell you about the role of this group and what our expectations are. The purpose is really to provide input to our county and consultant team in the development of the master plan of transportation. Our hope is that you will provide input and insight on the MPOT from the perspective of your municipality, help us to identify challenges and opportunities that we may be able to address in the document, and then help to support our efforts to engage the community so that they can all be part of this process as well. We want you to also report back to departments, et cetera, however necessary to make sure we have as robust a process as we can. As part of this process, we've invited several public agencies and key stakeholders to participate in this group. We're holding a series of meetings that you see listed below. We have a meeting with county agencies and municipal leaders. That's the series between yesterday and today. Then in December, we're going to have meetings with our community advisory groups, and then virtual town halls starting in January. So we'll be asking for your support in advertising for those virtual town halls. Just want to make sure everyone knows this is the beginning of our planning process. We want to hear from all of the stakeholders that I just identified, and we want to incorporate their feedback into the ultimate MPOT. We know that you have priorities, and we know that you're doing a lot of work on your own. We just want to make sure that this document helps to support that. So after meeting with all of the stakeholders, our team's going to synthesize a lot of data. So everything we hear, we're going to be synthesizing and preparing an existing conditions report. Then we will present a draft of that plan to the community and get some input. And then we'll prepare a final plan for review and approval. Want to give you just a brief overview of the project. So Plan 2035, Prince George's County's plan, was a framework that included 6 principles to guide the Plan 2035 vision, policies, and strategies. Those principles will also play an integral role in the development of MPOT 2035. Just to note that MPOT 2035, we're both including that number for consistency, but that doesn't mean that's our plan year. Want to make sure everyone understands that transportation, including built infrastructure and all of the modes that are used for travel, both implicitly and explicitly impact how the county's guiding principles. So you see the 6 guiding principles bulleted below. We want to concentrate future growth. We want to prioritize and focus our resources. We want to build on our strengths and assets. We want to create choice communities for all of those of us who love Prince George's County. We want to connect our neighborhoods and their significant places, and we want to protect and value our natural resources. I know this map is small, but it's really the shape of Prince George's County, which we all know very well. Wanted to make a couple of quick notes. In the yellow diamonds are regional transit districts. The red circles are local centers that have been identified in Plan 2035, as well as you can see where WMATA's transit network exists. Want to also note that there are a lot of rural roads and scenic roads that aren't represented. Obviously, the more roadways we try to represent, the more congested this map gets, so it becomes difficult to see, but not that we have not respected and honored those places. So the goals of the project are to envision a county-wide transportation system that supports the safe, efficient, and equitable, and I've been all over the word equitable, movement of people and goods within the county and within the region. So our team is going to work with the community, stakeholders, elected officials, and any other interested parties to create a vision for the future of the county that meets the needs of its residents, while also advancing countywide transportation goals. Just want to remind everyone before I keep going that we do want, if you're interested, we're going to have breakout sessions. And if you look in the chat, we have identified what those sessions are. And we ask that you just say which session you're most able to provide input on, choosing just one, and put your name and the session that you would like to go into so that the people who are working on it behind the scenes can get you all teed up to go into those breakout sessions when we get there. Just wanted to talk about our project engagement for a moment. So this countywide functional master plan will guide transportation infrastructure and transportation network development. So we have a very robust strategy for engaging stakeholders, and that will be reflected as was done in the vision and goals contained in Plan 2035. We're going to have a focus on multimodal transportation in designated centers and sustainable transportation in existing neighborhoods. We're working on documenting those existing conditions, and then we're going to share this information so that any key or nuance can make sure it makes it into the plan. Just understand all of this engagement, it began yesterday with yesterday's meeting, and we plan on continuing it throughout the duration of this project. So I mentioned that we're going to be going into breakout sessions, and we are going to be using a tool called Slido in order to capture some information from each of you. Yes, we will be able to share the slides, and they will be up on our project website to share with your constituents. We also are planning to have sessions dedicated to some constituents, which may have a little bit more nuance. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about which ones and how to share information so that we can maximize the feedback we're going to get. Using Slido, we're hoping that if you are on a laptop computer or a computer, that you have a second device, whether it be a cell phone or a tablet, and you can just use the QR code, use your camera function to scan the QR code and go into our Slido application, and then we'll be able to ask some questions and get your feedback. So I want to give everybody a chance to access Slido, and if you are unable to, we can follow back up with you. We'll also be, I'll be talking with you all through this entire session. So hopefully that will give you a chance to still weigh in with some of your thoughts, and our team can capture your information. So if anybody's having a challenge, please let us know.
Hi, Odessa. This is Quasi. Just real quick,
Yes.
There was a question in the chat. Someone is asking, will these slides be available to share with their constituents?
Yeah, that was my random sidebar. That yes, they will be available to share with our constituents, with your constituents. Is everybody able to get into Slido? I'm assuming you would pipe up if you can't. All right. So you see the first question here. And so we ask that you go ahead and start typing in. This is an interactive tool. So as soon as you start typing, words are going to start popping up in a word cloud. The question is, what are the key elements of a successful transportation system for your municipality? So I think we see safety, multimodal, complete, pedestrian safety, and then you identified Maryland 193, that's critical. Desirable movement, accessibility, equity. Oh, you guys are all over here. Mass transit, walkability, handicap accessible, that's really important. Connector bike trails, these are great. Public safety, protection. I'm sure I'm going to want to dig into that one a little bit more. So I'm going to just watch in the upper right-hand corner, and I can see that we've had about 19 unique individuals providing us feedback. So that's great. All Is there anyone who might be on the phone that isn't able to type in? Just feel free to let us know. Okay. So with that, we've had about 19 unique sessions. So we'll go ahead and advance to the next. So the next question. Prince George's Plan 2035 identified several transportation-related themes. Please rank the themes in order of importance to your municipality. So those themes include multimodality, safety, affordability, accessibility, energy efficiency. So you should see on your device those options, and you can just go ahead and rank them and then submit as send. So yesterday we held our first meeting with agency groups, and very similarly to what we heard yesterday or what we observed yesterday, safety had a very high priority. And but interesting, this is a slightly different than theirs from yesterday. So this is very interesting to watch as you all participate here. Great. It's about 16 unique responses. So if we can get anybody else to pipe in, that would be great. And just as a reminder, if you are only on the phone, if you're calling in only and unable to participate but can hear the conversation, please feel free to let me know and I can make sure your comment is recorded. All right, so we see very clearly that safety is the priority, followed closely by accessibility and multimodality. Thank you very much for your participation. Out of that, are there any other themes besides the 5 that we just identified? Are there other themes we should explore? Any other themes we should explore? Capacity, that's an excellent one. Community engagement, a person after my own heart. Smart technology, truly important. Any other themes that anyone thinks of that we should explore? Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next. So Prince George's Plan 2035 identified several transportation-related success indicators. So these are the indicators of success. Please rank the indicators in order of importance to your municipality. So we have increasing housing and transportation affordability. We have increasing non-auto mode share, increasing commuting patterns, increasing commuting patterns to and within the county, decreasing vehicle miles traveled, increasing bicycle and pedestrian facilities constructed, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and maintaining level of service. So please rank those indicators in order of importance to your municipality. Okay, excellent. So what we see is closely 1 and 2 is increasing bicycle and pedestrian facilities constructed and maintaining level of service. And now increasing housing and transportation affordability just pulled up closely on maintaining level of service. So those seem to be the top 3. And then reducing greenhouse gases and increasing non-auto mode share seem to have come up as well. Thank you very much for that. Are there any other success indicators we should consider? Any other success indicators, transportation success indicators that we should consider? And I'll give a hint, like resiliency or being able to maintain them. Are there any others that we should be considering? Okay, see none. I'll give another moment or two in case. Accident reduction. Yes, that's an excellent one. Oh, you guys, okay, sustainability, continuous improvement, other transportation success indicators that should be considered. Sustainability, practicality, reduction in downtime. That one's interesting. Flexibility, accident reduction. Great, great. Thank you so much. So we talked about sustainability, and it can have many different meanings depending on who you're speaking to and their area of knowledge expertise. Which of these aspects of sustainability have the most significant impact on your municipality? So please choose just one. Ooh, that's really wonderful. Environmental sustainability. This also is very different than we heard yesterday. Okay, now fiscal sustainability is pulling up. That's the one I thought more people would have a concern about. Great, but environmental sustainability, then fiscal, then cultural and social. Excellent. You can move on then, Elsa. And are there any other aspects of sustainability that are important to you? What other aspects of sustainability are important to you? Anything. Protection, supply chain, life of project life cycle. Operational resiliency, excellent. And I'm asking this as it relates to your municipality. Other aspects of sustainability that are important to your municipality. Equity. Wonderful. Okay, so we'll go ahead into the next. And just asking, are there any ideas you have for improving sustainability? What ideas do you have for improving sustainability? And that could include some initiatives that you're already doing in your municipality that we may not have already identified or listed here. Any other ideas for improving sustainability? Oh, that's over. Oh, okay. Those are happening fast. Overcoming multiple property owners, alternative energy, education of the general public on financial benefits. That's huge. Capital project funding and maybe private partnerships. And I see partnerships was a theme, better partnerships with the county and the state so that they work together better. Any other ideas? These are all great. These are all great. Do we want to go to the next, please? So at this time, Ben, do we have most everyone identified to a breakout room?
We do.
Excellent, yay. So the breakout rooms, as we mentioned, are roadways, transit, active transportation, and Vision Zero. So we're going to push everyone into those rooms. Ben, if possible, can we get 30 minutes for each room?
Sure, I'll adjust that.
Thank you so very much. And so it is now 1:39 p.m. we're going to transfer you all into a breakout room for these smaller room conversations. We're going to want you to go to Slido again, and there'll be another code for you to enter into that small group conversation. And then you'll enter that code into your breakout rooms chat. When we get to those rooms, we'll give you those codes again, but go to slido.com and then we'll give you that code in your room.
So let's go quickly through, we'll start with roadway, just to give you just an idea of some of the questions that we're going to be asked, and what we can do, again, is I'll take some notes so that people will, so that I can share the feedback that we receive with everyone else, if that works for you guys. So for the first question that we have in our breakout about roadways is that what roadway elements and factors has Prince George's County seen since 2008 that would impact the roadway facility recommendations and the new impact? So again, the question is which roadway elements and factors in terms of, I'm sorry, let me back up. So what we're looking at in terms of roadways are the US 301 corridor, scenic and historic roadways, as well as high congestion, low transit corridors. So can anyone identify what roadway elements or factors seen since the last impact in 2009 that would impact roadway facility recommendations and the new impact? Is there something that you think that we should definitely include, we should not include, we should consider? Is it, should we consider widening it to include bikes or scooters or something like that? If anyone has any thoughts on that.
Well, this is Larry. I'm always on infrastructure and infrastructure and rideability. That has always been a big thing of mine.
So when you say rideability, is that rideability? Is that just the smoothness of the road? Is it like not so many potholes? Is it connectivity?
Well, both. It's a little both. Because when you're dealing with the infrastructure, you're talking about the fact of when people are riding, especially even sometime I live in our municipality is close to 210. They came through there and resurfaced 210. And just to ride down 210, it was almost like riding on a gravel road right after they had resurfaced it.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, that does make sense because I'm very familiar with 210, and I do know what you are referring to. Okay, Manfredo, any thoughts in terms of anything?
Well,
no?
I'm looking at roadways, I guess, and because I'm pretty much involved with the travel demand model, you know, I would like to just get a better understanding of how or what kind of facilities are going to have pedestrians and bicycles nearby the roadway in such a way that we can pretty much model the correct capacity and the correct interactions with the facilities. You know, whether they're places where the bicycles are sharing the road or whether they're virtually or physically separated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jerome, I know this isn't what you wanted to talk about. Do you have any thoughts in terms of roadway?
Roadways, hold on, let me check. Let me see this.
And just in terms of any, I'm sorry.
We're a small municipality. Most we deal with is traffic on Bladensburg Road, and we don't really deal with that too much. State Highway take care of it.
Okay.
We had a problem with the train years ago, but that's been taken care of. No enter in our actual town. No issues with that roadways now.
Okay. All righty. So we will get to active transportation real quick. So we do have, I'm sorry, did you have a question? Somebody had a question? Oh, okay. So the second question we have is which corridors are experiencing the greatest change and why? I think, Larry, you mentioned 210. Do you
Yes,
still
ma'am.
consider that 210 is the one, 210 is the one area that's experiencing the greatest change? Is there any other roadway, any corridors?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, 210 has a lot of work and a lot of change going on it as we speak.
Okay, is that the only corridor that's including the greatest change, and is that because of the development that's occurring throughout the corridor, or?
Well, it's well, see, 210 runs right smack dab in the middle of Forest Heights, so that's basically the one that we deal with the most.
Okay.
That other than 495 that goes by us, but 210 is the one that we deal with the most.
Okay. Okay. Manfredo, do you have any thoughts on that one? It's just any specific card, or yours is just yours is more of a countywide issue?
Yeah, pretty much. But I guess US 1, it's also another area that it should be looked into.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and Jerome, you're good because you guys you're really about the active transportation, but I don't want to speak on your behalf. I think that's what it is. And Larry, not necessarily. Are there any new corridors being considered? Should they be considered? Because you're basically just the impacts of 495 and 210 are the ones that direct you the most. There's nothing, no other corridor that's been identified that that could be considered.
Well, I don't always want to seem selfish, but I tend to deal with that which is at home. And a lot of our complaints from our residents, it always surrounds 210, what's going on Maryland 210.
Is it more so about the speeding?
Well, all of it, speeding. Well, of course, speeding, because we know that 210 has been very, very prominent about death on 210. But it's also the infrastructure. We got a lot of construction work, and not to mention the vegetation growth that's around there. I know we're not talking about that, but that's a part of safety, so people can't see where they're going.
The high grass.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and excuse me, I'm sorry, I had some problems getting in. This is Commissioner Xander Harcourt. I'm in District Heights.
Okay.
And one of our primary concerns is Marlboro Pike. And when we think about transportation, I think we always think about, vehicles and other modalities, but we don't think about people who walk or run. And the condition of that area is horrible. I mean, so far as the sidewalks and the curbs. If I had to use a wheelchair, or if I were an elderly person and have to use like my mom uses these little scootabout things, these people wouldn't be able to even use the streets. And also the trees and stuff. We look, when we're trying to increase our tree canopy in the area, and DC is doing a really good job of it, we're falling by the wayside. We're taking some of these opportunities to re-energize these old areas, to get people out exercising and walking, and to, not worry about having to walk into the street to get to a bus stop or something like that, which could put them at potential harm, because the people use Marlboro Pike like a raceway. It's crazy. So I think that's a corridor that, we should really look into reinvigorating, to get people to use the resources that we already have.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was so busy taking notes. I didn't see that you joined already, but thank you again for because I couldn't hear you the first time. So thank you again for mentioning that. So the reinvigoration of Marlboro Pike, and I do agree with you um with that.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so is there anything else in terms of roadways? I know we do have to segue over to active transportation, but is there anything else about roadways that we should be considering?
Yeah, well, I'll just add, the
Mhm.
county really needs to take a considerable inventory of areas that don't have sidewalks, that are not walkable. Even through our community and the county, they own, a lot of the sidewalks and stuff like that. We need sidewalks,
Mhm.
so people can get out and be active and move. I think that the county needs to map these areas where there are no sidewalks, and at least get that infrastructure put in, and then move towards the transit.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one to be looking at because I live in West Philly, up in Marlboro, even though I work Townsville Manor. But
Mhm.
we just had a community center built there, and my children still have to walk the street to get to the community center that was just built, and
Mhm.
that's a good idea to focus in on sidewalks.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Larry. I think I agree with that too. We've had some work done in our town, whereas kids would have to walk to school in the streets, and so we managed to get a couple of sidewalks put in. But like even crosswalks. Sometimes the crosswalks are in bad shape. They're not visible, and so those type of things are important.
Okay, so that has moved us right into active transportation, and I think that's a perfect segue, and I definitely understand your point of view in terms of the lack of sidewalks, and if we're creating a healthy environment, that the lack of sidewalks does not. If we say that we want a healthy environment, excuse me, that does not mean that that's going to happen just kind of through osmosis, but that you're right, that sidewalks and trails should be installed so that people do have an opportunity to go ahead and get out and, like you mentioned, walk and exercise and, kind of fellowship with their neighbors. Is there any, I think one of the questions in active transportation is that it identifies trails, but you guys are mentioning the importance of sidewalks. Are trails also important?
Yeah,
And,
trails. Just so trails are important too, and I noticed in PG County that there's a lot of abandoned trails. Trails
Mhm.
that used to be that you start on the trail and you'll end up it's not there anymore.
Mhm.
That's right.
I think it should be revised and revisited to be opened back up because a lot of those lead you, to destinations, and you can't get there because it's overgrown or it's been abandoned so long that people start to throw tires and stuff and blockage those areas off. So trails should be revisited. Yes.
Okay, so that's perfect. So the abandoned trails, so they need to be maintained. The trails need to be maintained,
Definitely.
Yeah.
and cleaned, cleared
Not
and
only,
cleaned.
yeah, I also, so I lived in Baltimore a little bit, and they had like a mapping system. It's very you could bike it, you could plan to get from Baltimore all the way to Virginia on these trails. And I think that Prince George's County has an opportunity to do a similar project with these connector trails. The demographics of our community is changing. And it's not just on race, it's also on income level. And there are certain things that when when the income levels go up, that people just expect. And so, I should be able to click online and find all of these trails, where they are, and to know that they're maintained, and that there are also things put in place where, if you're a single woman, you're jogging, you're running the trails, there are safety mechanisms put in place along those trails, so that people can get some help if they need it. But I agree with the other people that we need to do a better job with cleaning and maintaining these trails. But first, we need to, again, we need to do a massive inventory to find out what trails we have, which ones are active, and the ones that are inactive, we need to ask why and get them back online.
Okay. This is Larry again. We, at the town of Forest Heights, the county is actually working on a project. I'm not saying this is National Harbor or something, but it runs from the district, the back of the district, all the way over through to Virginia, across the Wilson Bridge. And they're working on that now, but it's not going to happen for another 2 years. But we have been hollering and screaming and pulling our hair out for the past couple of years to trying to get somebody to come back there and to do some work on that trail back there. But they have decided that they are going to do that. So we do need these trails to be looked at and to be brought up to par.
Okay, so two things that and I'm no trail expert, but I can also share that their SHA is actually doing a study along 210. I'm not sure. I know it's on the southern portion of 210 where the construction is occurring. I'm not sure about north of 210. So I can go back and look to see if that information is available. And there is some mapping information, but it's kind of probably buried. So I think I hear what you guys are saying is that it needs to be more, we need more trails. They need to be cleaned and maintained. We need to have an inventory of them, as well as safety, which is in my opinion, paramount. Okay. So one of the questions, do you guys know of any significant gaps in the trails system? Well, yeah, you did, because you say some of them are open and some of them are abandoned. So we can go ahead and take a look at that. Is there anything that we can do as a part of the master plan and transportation process to help with any trail development or maintenance? I know we talked about maintenance, but just in terms of development.
I think that there have been some studies about natural trailways where towns put in sidewalks. I read about this in the Post, and that where people make like shortcuts. And you can see when I go through the metro, and there are areas, if I'm in DC, we take shortcuts, but some of these places you cut through wooded areas. So I think to find out natural areas of walkways that people take to do shortcuts, and maybe connect those to trails from different communities and subdivisions and things like that, to encourage people to actually use a trail that maybe had not been there or dedicated as a trail, but where the community have actually created a trailway just because of convenience.
Yep. So any road that you look at, you'll see people are going to walk anyway, whether you have a path there, people are going to take the path of least resistance and create what the official term is sort of a goat path, which doesn't make sense. But it's just that people have decided I need to get from A to B, and I'm not going from A to C to D to, I'm not doing all of that. I'm going to take the path of least resistance. So I definitely understand. And before we run out of time, are you guys working on anything that we should know about in terms of trails, in terms of roads, in terms of anything that we can make sure is incorporated in our process, and to make sure it's can sort of be formalized if possible?
We're here at Como Manor. We're working on Bladensburg Road. We got what you call the pedestrian bridges that crosses out Building 2, and it has been shut down, and they're recently reconstructing that.
Okay, so the reconstruction of the pedestrian bridges?
Yes, on Bladensburg Road.
Okay.
And in District Heights, one of the things that the vice mayor and the commission is looking into is trying to find the proper partnership or authority to work with the county to start beautifying our main street, which is Marlboro Pike. But we don't have any control over that. And so when we talk about, renovating or rejuvenating the sidewalks and the curbs, putting in ADA compliant curbs and stuff, so people who use wheelchairs, they can use those areas to plant new trees and those types of things, so we can start a Main Street project. We're having difficulty nailing down one person or, just a contact person that can work collaboratively with us. But that's something that we're taking on. And we're also, I just left from Prince George's County stormwater management meeting where we were talking about increasing our tree canopy to help with some of this global warming and to also make it easier for people to commute. It's hot. And we got a lot of concrete. And so we need these trees to cool down some of these areas so that people won't mind going out because it's shady. If it's shade, you won't mind walking when it's 90 degrees outside.
Right. Okay. You guys have me, I got shorthand happening. I got all kind of stuff going on. So that's pretty awesome. Any other, anything else?
I think we got about 2 minutes left before everyone's going to come back in, Crystal.
Okay. All right. Is there, do you guys have any other points that we may not have discussed in terms of active transportation or roadways? I mean, we have a few more minutes that we can sort of talk through that a little bit, but you guys all have my information. If you need to send me an email or something later on, please feel free to do so.
Well, again, I don't mean to hog, but if we can get some traffic calming solutions on Marlboro Pike. So we have a lot of people that walk and use the buses up there. If we can get some traffic calming from the county, that would be so helpful. And that would be a quick fix right now. And we are afraid of, I heard another person commenting about the trails, and they've been working with this, trying to get some resolution for 2 years. And that I'm a new elected official, and I just don't work that way. And it just bothers me. And that's why I ran, because we got to do better.
So Marlboro Pike, if I'm not mistaken, is a state road, or is it a county road?
It's a county road.
Okay.
If I'm not, it might be a state, but I think the sidewalks.
It's a county road. It's a county road.
It's a county road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been calling everybody to help, and nobody is calling me back. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, I definitely hear the frustration mentioned through all of these issues, so that we had a meeting with the agencies yesterday, so we can definitely share some of the information we talked about. So thank you again, everybody in our ad hoc group.
I am here on my cell phone and rebooting my computer because it's acting crazy, but I am here. Thank you so much. And while my computer is in its eternal reboot, and as people are starting to make their way back in, I am hopeful that we can get some report out from each of the groups. So is Rick Kegel available to talk about, or someone from Roadways?
Yes, Odessa, I'm here.
Great. Can you give us a high point for you from the Roadways group?
Absolutely. I think a fair amount of our conversation focused on the developments that are occurring, primarily on US 301, Maryland 193. There seems to be a lot of development that's increasing traffic volumes, as we all know, and there's interest in improving some of these corridors with some grade separations that have probably been in the works for a long time, put on a hold for a while, and there's an interest in getting those back started again. Specifically on historic and scenic roadways, there was some discussion about really what defines a scenic roadway. As we know, with these developments that are coming on, some of the view sheds from those roadways are now looking through a small section of vegetation to a huge residential development or commercial development. And so that road may not be as scenic as it once was because of the encroachment of development. And then lastly, the Maryland 4 corridor, with respect primarily to the Westphalia development, is having some significant impacts on that route as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And so can we go to transit, please?
Yeah, we had a pretty good discussion, a very good discussion. And I think one of the kind of takeaways is that there's this regional level of disparity that the participant felt between Prince George's County investment in transit versus what's going on in Montgomery County, DC, and Nova. So that should be addressed, hopefully. And then the other thing is we talked about the next transit thing, the next big transit thing in the county that can happen. And some of the corridors mentioned were kind of the extension of Purple Line further south, and also some significant investment along Route 1. And then we also talk about the small things in transit that matter just as much. So pedestrian access to bus stops, being able to access them safely and conveniently. So that's the kind of thing, the three things: the regional priority, disparity in transit investment, and then the next big thing and the next small thing.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Adam. That was really helpful. Just wanted to give some quick high level points in active transportation. We spoke a lot about trails. We didn't get as deep into pedestrian and scooter, but more trails and bike. And I would say our biggest high point is really about the barriers to actual construction or extension of trails, which is of course funding. So we talked about funding being a barrier, but we also talked about existing infrastructure as a barrier. So thinking about state highways that either we need to cross over or get around or move along. They're a barrier to really creating a connected trail network. And we briefly touched on on-road facilities, but I think most of our conversation was really around those connectivity issues. So if I missed anything, does anyone want to weigh in on anything I didn't say on active? Okay, awesome. And so then Vision Zero, please.
All right, thanks, Odessa. So here's the skinny on what we talked about. I put these into three categories. One is development review. Second is at the state level, engineering. And the third is more sort of at the county level in terms of approvals. So for development review, one of the issues municipalities have is that the owner of the roadway really has authority over final decision making around it. They can only give recommendations, and their recommendations are backed up by the local municipal plans. So having a county plan that the municipalities can point to specifically and say, it's in the county plan and our municipal plan, so it's something you really should do, I think helps in their ability to push these things. And one of the comments was primarily just making sure there's sidewalks when there's developments. Second, some examples on state engineering approval. Municipalities that want to do things like add stop signs. If somebody says a warrant, somebody else decides a warrant isn't there. If it's a state road or a municipal or a county road, there's struggles with the differing of opinions. And then there's also a feeling that oftentimes the municipalities are doing possibly even the maintenance, but at least the police support for crashes, and yet feel like they don't have the support of the county, even though they're the ones focusing on the roads in terms of the kind of what they need to do that. An example of that was traffic speed cameras require county approval. Oftentimes they're requested and rejected, which makes it hard for the enforcement folks that are really trying to get speeds down in front of schools to implement what they're doing. And the last example, which is kind of like a challenge turned into a great positive development, is around a municipality that was trying to put in rapid flash beacons. Those for a long time had been not approved by the state and therefore couldn't be used. There was work with the county to say, well, would you let us have a kind of an interim approval for that would kind of indemnify the county? So it felt like a struggle to try to even get the county to let them do it, even though it was on a county road, but in that municipality. But now that it has been federally approved and state approved, now it's something the county is doing on a regular basis. So I think one of the challenges is when municipalities are trying to push the envelope on these things, how to get better support from the county and have these things in the county plan so that they aren't sort of the only ones trying to push forward with some of these innovations. So that's the summary from Vision Zero.
Excellent. And then for those on the phone, Crystal.
Yes. So we had sort of an ad hoc group. So thank you for my group for your patience. So I do have some notes to share with the facilitators from the sessions that we basically talked about roadways and active transportation in our session. And in it, we talked about the importance of or the concerns about speed and lack of sidewalk. It kind of blended in together along the roads that we were most interested in is along the 210 and the Marlboro Pike and the Route 1s of the world. So that's sort of what we were talking about, the infrastructure, you know, to make sure it's a smooth ride, to make sure that sidewalks are available, the connectivity to be able to transition from one area to the next, accessibility in terms of making sure the sidewalks are wide enough so that people who are using a wheelchair or some other device can easily navigate through, you know, can navigate through the roadway to sidewalk. We also talked about that. And in terms of active transportation, we talked about again the accessibility, the trails, and how it's not publicized that the trails are linked, whether they're abandoned and maintained, and just sort of those types of things in terms of sidewalks and I think that's it. But I do have a lot. I was taking notes all over the place, so I do have notes, and I do have our conversation was taped. So thank you again for our strong but mighty team on the phone.
Wonderful. Thank you, Crystal. And just for the good of the order, I did mention in our group, we were in the active transportation discussion, but I did mention that if you in your jurisdiction are putting information or using GIS to document or codify places that you may be doing on-road bike lanes or bike facilities or anything else that we'd love to have it if you could share kind of those layers with us. Not that we want to do anything with them beyond understand all of those places that some of those things are being implemented. So that's just something in terms of a share between us that can help us ensure that we have a very robust piece altogether. Okay. I believe, do we have another, piece of
yes, it's the
Slido? Yes. So last piece, we're going to do one more Slido input, going back to Slido, and we're now with the code PGC MPOT2. If we could
Sorry,
just jump.
Excuse me. Can we go over Slido again? Because there was someone who had problems getting in the Slido. If we can do that one more time, thank you.
Yes, no problem. So Slido, we have two ways to get to it. If you have an external device, whether it be a cell phone or a tablet, you can use your camera to hover over the QR code that you see here. When it connects to a web page, you can click on it and it should take you into the Slido discussion. The other option is to go into your browser and type slido.com. And then when it asks for your code, use the code PGCMPOT2. So those are the two ways. Mm-hmm.
I have also pasted the link on the chat if they want to click on it as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Elsa. So in the chat, Elsa has also put a link if you would like to access it that way. Thank you, Jim. We're going to make sure we copy down the City of Hyattsville Transportation Plan. So the last two questions that we have here, what are your top 3 transportation equity concerns? What are your top 3 transportation equity concerns? And the choices we have are affordability, accessibility, need, mobility, ability, and other. So your top 3 transportation equity concerns, and we will give you a chance if your answer is other on the next question to answer there. So top 3 equity concerns. I see accessibility as a strong concern for many on this call, with affordability being another. accessibility and affordability, then followed by mobility and need. Great, thank you all for participating here. Wonderful. All right, Lynn, do you want to pop to the next one, Elsa? So if you have an other, specify your other transportation equity concerns, please. I see sustainability there. Your other equity concerns, sustainability. I know nobody asked me, but I'm gonna pop in and say education because I did hear someone mention education. And then the last question, is there anything that we have not covered today that you'd like us to cover in a future session for this plan? Anything you'd like us to cover in a future session that we did not cover today? Multimodal opportunities, advanced technology. I'd love to hear more about that. And by multimodal opportunities, I'm not sure who wrote that, but are you referring to where there may be opportunities for us to consider both or multiple modes in the MPOT? Single source of best practices from other municipalities or communities. Love that. Methods for communicating transportation options to the public. All over that one. Love that. Complete streets. Collaboration with various agencies. I love that as well. Fairness in distributing funding for projects. Uh-oh. Also, we went back to the beginning. I think we've gone backwards for some reason. All right, so here are our next steps, just to give everybody a sense. Just go back one for me, the next steps.
Sorry about that, Odessa.
Yeah, no problem. If you could go to the next steps, just in keeping track of time. We've got 4 minutes left. So this July, we've had the initiation. So next April, we'll have an existing conditions analysis. Next July, a draft staff plan. We will release that draft plan around November. The first joint public hearing will be held January of 2023 with an April planning board adoption, a June council approval of any amendments, and then a second joint public hearing with approval in September 2023. Very much appreciate all of your participation today. Thank you so very much. Don't know if we have any closing comments from either Crystal or Will or Judith. Any additional questions? Oh, right. Yesterday, I forgot this slide altogether. So if you do have any questions or want to contact our project team, our website is, you can find it as MPOT 2035. You may email Crystal Saunders Hancock, Judith Howerton, and then follow us on social media. We are going to be sharing information on the project on social media, Facebook and Twitter. So at PG Planning MD on Facebook and at MNCPPC on Twitter.
Thank you again, Odessa. This is Crystal. Yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody again for coming, and your participation is extremely helpful as we try to pull together information to make sure that we are on, we understand the needs of the community. And I know exactly in my group, we talked a lot about making sure that we are in touch with county leaders, state leaders, to make sure everybody is on board. So thank you again for your participation in this meeting. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to follow up with either myself or Judith, who's on screen, and I'll go on screen also. So I do apologize. Just trying to save the bandwidth. So thank you again, everyone. Judith, do you have any final comments?
No, you're good. You covered it all. Thank you.
Thank you again, guys. Again, any questions, please don't
everyone.
hesitate to reach out to myself or Judith. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, we won't forget District Heights. I remember, Xander. Our conversation was very vivid. Yes, I do remember.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you
Hopefully
again.
you can use those 2 minutes to get a nice long stretch before your 2:30 meeting.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye all.
Thank you, everyone.